Okay. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a long day, albeit evidently filled with wonderful insights and inspiring discussions. I know I will be thinking about all of these topics throughout the rest of my evening and through some of the jet lag. But what we like to do at the forum, and it's been a tradition since the very first edition, is to have some rapporteurs who try to summarize, it's an ambitious goal, in sort of 7 minutes or less each, some of the key findings of each session that we've heard today. So with that in mind, I would like to invite Brigadier General Roberto Mazzolin, Chief Strategist for Defense, Security and Technology at Starion Group, among others, and he will provide us with a summary of Stream 1 on our health. Mr. Mazzolin, if you'd like to welcome on stage.
Every single time I look at you.
No, grazie mille. Prima desidero offrire I miei più sinceri auguri e complimenti ai nostri ospiti italiani per aver venuto qui e offrire osservazioni ho trovato molto interessante. Pour les raisons d'efficacité, je vais offrir mes commentaires en anglais et pour être un peu plus bref. When you're at the end of the day and speaking, two of the key principles in effective public speaking is be brief and be gone. So we'll try to adhere to that. So I sat in on the session of our health, the well-being of individuals and communities, and it was partly selfish because when you get to my age, you figure I'm going to need this stuff, so I better know something about it. So we kicked off the session with a great presentation from Dr. Cafazzo in work that's being done in Toronto that's actually very innovative from the perspective of connecting innovation and digital therapeutics and being able to help facilitate an overburdened healthcare system. And really emphasized, there are a couple of key principles, was emphasizing the importance and benefit of integrating engineers and technical specialists in the healthcare system. And working in close collaboration with universities, and in this case the University of Toronto, to effect a new revolution in collaborative care. When we actually start looking back at the comments that Minister Champagne made this morning, one of the 4 Ds is that of disruption. And I think some of the work that's being done there and was also emphasized later on in the panel by virtue of a number of individual examples of instantiations of work that's being done. It certainly not only emphasizes 2 of the Ds, digitalization, but also disruption and revolutionizing, potential revolutionization of our healthcare system. Spoke about an AI hub to be able to better marshal governance and data into the healthcare system, to be able to expedite and support healthcare. Effectively using the use of large language models and data to enable, and association with AI data, to enable better analysis, and cited a couple of examples regarding morbidity and survival rates. Further, leveraging extant medical data to improve surgical and health management, really being able to refine the processes and examples in terms of how to actually treat them and the limitations of treatments, and better guiding surgical practices to treat complex conditions. There was some effort devoted towards speaking about the use of open source data, large language models, to improve such complex surgeries. For example, in the cases of hearts and lungs, where specialist care is very limited, and actually doing so from a remote perspective, being able to facilitate remote surgeries. One of the key points that came out actually is what we're starting to see is that we've talked about applications, if you will, but I would say what we're starting to see, and this speaks to the disruption piece, is digital therapeutics, the use of software as an actual medical device, to complement medical practitioners and their decision-making processes, and as well as help facilitate autonomous treatment in terms of modifying behavior and ensuring that people suffering from certain diseases are able to contribute to their own care and their loved ones. So basically, creating a greater space for care in terms of addressing a broader demographic, broader geography, where people are located, and being able to leverage limited healthcare practitioners and expertise to treat a broader demographic. Again, a number of the examples cited about the creation of new models for care to deal with the scarcity of specialty and primary care. And also, when we're looking at a demographic, again, one of the 4Ds is dealing with an aging demographic as we start looking at the curves in terms of our population and limited support care. We went into, with those as kind of underlying principles, we went into a number of specific bespoke applications or examples that were supporting specific areas of care. So one that was offered was a medley application for cardiac applications based on expert system developed algorithms that combine data and specialist knowledge to be able to enable patients' self-management. And what we found was that one of the examples cited that you could have nurses, a nurse practitioner could manage about 300 patients, and that would reduce hospitalization by 50% and costs by 25% to a medical system. So very, very interesting. And here was one of the capabilities that was actually, innovation in Canada that's now being considered by the U.S. FDA. So, hats off. That's certainly a feather in the cap of the Canadian medical profession and the associated organizations. Some of the other examples that were dealt with were generative AI, the use of generative AI and voice agents to improve access. And so basically, one, in terms of improving access, because again, an older demographic, or perhaps folks that are not digitally literate, being able to use a simple voice application that would interact with folks. And this would help in many multilinguistic environments. A case study today spoke about, the difference in French Canadian French versus traditional European French, but also had applications in remote areas like, in Canada's north, in Africa, where in some cases you're dealing with spoken languages, not written languages, and also limited access to digital applications. So very interesting there. Another example related to the use of digital twins and translating data from a broad array of applications and sources, platforms that could be used ubiquitously when we start looking at the collection of data for common ailments, whether it's heart, lungs, or other ailments. The massive amount of data that is collected, regionally, internationally, that can be amalgamated together to provide greater precision and being able to amalgamate that. And also the use of digital twins in terms of being able to replicate complex ailments so they can be better studied and gain greater precision in treatment. There was the use of also another example related to AI and linguistic access. There were a number of interesting applications in Quebec, being able to better understand the complex nature of certain ailments. We start dealing with hearts or dementia, for example, and being able to understand, bringing a number of different models, different treatments, and understand the subtleties of these ailments, and developing language aids that would help understand these subtleties, so that greater precision could be applied to the diagnosis and eventual treatment. And this again also ensures inclusiveness in the engagements. Another one example, and this related to the use of a project, the Horizon 2020. I know we're going to be talking about Horizon 2020 tomorrow. And again, one of the areas, and I would say when you start looking at disruptive nature of technology development in support of healthcare management, seeing the potential of the Horizon 2020 program, and also, I would say that's representative of national initiatives to innovate, to dedicate resources to the development of different areas, medical practice in this case. So there was a decider project, and this was basically enabling the development of AI medical tools to better understand cancer and related treatments. There was basically looking at integrating, various types of data from different sources to provide a greater and more coherent understanding and treatment, and then also aided in treatment response prediction in terms of how ailments would evolve and the best approaches for treating that. And you could see the benefits that could actually be applied in terms of close family and immediate support systems to be able to support them. Another application related to obesity, which is a large demographic in Canada, the US, Mexico, less so in Italy, and being able to try to do moderative treatment to enable individuals to do cognitive behavior therapy as an alternative to traditional medicine treatment. So being able to coalesce knowledge, access across a broad society, and facilitate individuals to contribute to their own treatment as opposed to relying on a limited number of experts. We spoke about Calliope, a very interesting project program in Taranto that used AI-based eye imaging to predict dementia, and what's very interesting, being able to tie various sources of imaging, for example, MRIs, OCT, correlate these to provide greater predictive analysis, do pattern recognition, taking different sources of data to be able to provide a more refined and more detailed analysis and permit better outcomes in this case, in the case of dementia. But the principle can be applied to a number of other areas. Spoke again about a lab of the future, another initiative which basically looked at improving data flows from the various sources of information. We start looking at all the different times that humans interact in collecting medical data, from taking blood work, from physical analysis, also the data that's resident in the very health management systems, the ERPs, coalescing all that together and being able to facilitate the data flow and access to either the different practitioners or also pharmaceutical development to be able to aid and develop a more refined approaches towards treatment in that regard. Finally, again, another example, and I'd say here's where an example of how forward-leaning that Italy is, and Mimit in terms of is serving, having government serve as a catalyst in developing, in investing and innovating in the development of these new, creating a development environment to be able to work with industry to develop applications that help alleviate a burden on a stressed health system, developing the industrial capacity to serve an extension of government interests in developing and in evolving the health system. So again, another example of disruption. So, in final points, again, what we saw were the comments of Minister Champagne this morning, the 4 Ds of digitalization, demography, disruptive, perhaps a little bit less in decarbonization. You could probably work that in there in terms of greater access, but they all applied in this instance. So once again, I just want to compliment all the panelists today, some excellent presentations, and I'm sure in the few moments that I had here, I couldn't do full justice to the great presentations that we had today. Alors, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup et grazie.
Thank you, Mr. Mazzolin. Now I'd like to ask Pierre-Philippe Lortie, Innovation Consultant, to report on our second stream, which had to do with our places.
Buonasera a tutti. Allora farò breve. Grazie a tutti. We had a fantastic panel. We had basically, and I'm going to make you work here to come back to this morning, and I'll bring you back today. So we had 4 projects, 4 technologies that actually were implementing and putting to life the 4 Ds of Minister Champagne. Decarbonization, digitalization, demography, and disruption. He also mentioned that AI is the holy grail of productivity. Remember that. Either you fear it, AI, or you embrace it. Keyword was adoption should be a focus when it comes to developing AI solutions. So actually, I was quite impressed, and it was awesome to see that the 4 projects and the technologies that were presented today were all in connection, in line with what Minister Champagne said. Mr. Champagne did not invent anything, but I think it's everything is logical and everything matches together, and it was great to see that those affinities. First project by Calliope. It was the One Health project in Taranto. It was actually, it was quite interesting to see that it's a project that looks at the social determinant of health. Biodiversity and health equity are at the core of the One Health project, which was quite interesting to hear. The second project that was presented was Cluster Built from Emilia-Romagna, and their mission was quite interesting again. I'm going to say that word very often. Shaping our buildings and buildings are shaping us. And it was quite interesting to see that they mentioned that they are using sensors on critical infrastructures to analyze the impact of climate change risks. Third project, Adapt by ETS, École de Technologie Supérieure, was also super interesting. It was more of a relaxing presentation. It's on the comfort assessment using monitoring technology. So they are actually, what Professor Motamedi is doing is using virtual reality to create real-time ambiance and analyze those data. They are also using acoustic comfort technology. So this is all related to making our buildings, our infrastructure, and our work and environment more interesting, and I would say more relaxing, but also more productive. So that was the whole idea. The other project was the Dante from the European Digital Innovation Hub, so Cluster Smile, that was also very interesting. What they are using basically is digital transformation for companies, but also public administration in adopting cutting-edge technologies. And Marcello presented a quick video at the end showing inclusive, smart living environments, so living labs expertise, which was quite interesting. Again, another way of showing how AI can be adopted, but not only to push a technology, so to push a specific solution, but how that solution embrace and is in line with the needs of the community. That was also quite interesting to hear from all those our partners. Projects done, 4 solutions, so 4 specific technology. We had BrainBox. BrainBox, fantastic Quebec companies. So how to use AI? So AI contributing to decarbonize cities using energy-saving solutions. Interesting to hear Sam saying that if the self-driving technology can be used to energy consumption and energy issues in buildings, we can be in business. Well, actually, he is in business, and he has developed with his folks the ARIA, which is the world's first virtual engineer to buildings. So they help monitor not only in silos, but what are the issues of energy consumptions in buildings. The second technology, Planetech from Italy. So they do space economy. What I really liked about that is that they simplify space data and space issues. They simplified the complexity of space data and the space sector to non-expert, which is quite interesting again here. They do work, I'll be brief here, but they do work also on the Calliope project using satellite and drone monitoring for the city of Taranto to monitor specifically also air and water quality. Third out of 4, Citera, a Quebec company. So it's a solution to meet buildings emission regulation. So what was quite interesting is that Canada and Italy on buildings emission trends from 1990 to 2010 were almost the same. But between 2010 and 2022, Italy had their building emission average down 19%, and Canada was up 17%. So this is, I think, was a stringent example of how the European Union and how member states are applying specific regulations and are just a bit more proactive than Canada. And Canada actually has begun to put more regulations, more stringent regulations only back in 2020, 2021. So lots of work to be done there, but that was interesting. And Citera is also launching their tool, it's the TurboTax. It's the equivalent of a TurboTax tool for the real estate industry. So they try to decomplexify emissions regulations for their building in one platform, again, to better meet those building emissions. Finally, but not least, Includia. Enzo presented their technology, which is quite interesting, the immersive experience using immersive solutions. One data that he mentioned that was quite interesting, and I don't think the crowd had the answer, was that 27% of both populations, so Italy, Canada, have some sort of disabilities issues. So that's quite a lot, and I think it's going to grow, unfortunately, but let's be realistic here. So it was interesting to hear that. So Includia is using inclusive metaverse solutions, specifically to help people with disabilities. So it was fascinating to see, not only to link with what Minister Champagne said, but what struck me, and this was the conversation we had also in preparation to that, is that this is not only, this is putting the human in the loop, this is putting human needs and wants at the center of technology to be adopted, which is very often when you go into conferences, it's vice versa. We push technology, it's the best technology, we got VCs around us, we need to push the market. Now we reverse the angle, and I think it's fantastic, and I think that's where we need to go, and I think that's where economic development will also grow and be there with us. So thank you. Merci, grazie mille.
Excellent. Thank you, Monsieur Lortie. Before we move to today's closing remarks, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to join us again tomorrow, whether in person or online, as we will continue with the second day of the forum. We have an exciting and even more dynamic, I think, lineup of sessions starting tomorrow morning at 8:30 sharp, beginning with a presentation on the New Horizon initiative. Following that, we'll have an engaging startup pitch featuring innovative Italian companies that you might have already met outside in the hall earlier today. An event that promises to be both inspiring and informative. We'll continue then the discussions that were started today with a series of working groups aimed at confirming and solidifying the collaboration between Quebec, Canada, and Italy, focusing on our health and our places. And tomorrow afternoon, we'll be able to then wrap up the 2024 edition of the forum. I'm already thinking about next year. And we will be announcing what the theme for next year is. So that's kind of the teaser here. It will be another packed day, and I do look forward to seeing you there. In order to conclude today's event, we have, I think, three panelists or speakers that I would like to invite on stage. The first and foremost, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Enrico Pavone, Consul General of Italy in Montreal, to the stage.
Buonasera a tutti, grazie per l'attenzione che mi dedicherete. Prometto di essere rapido. Distinguished guests, Madame et Messieurs, cari amici, c'est un plaisir pour moi de participer pour la deuxième fois, en effet, à cet événement, qui en est à sa 6e édition cette année. Je tiens tout d'abord à remercier la Chambre de commerce italienne au Canada pour l'organisation de ce qui est désormais devenu un rendez-vous traditionnel qui promeut le dialogue et l'innovation entre nos pays. Le thème de cette année, l'intelligence artificielle et le bien-être, est particulièrement opportun et nous l'avons vu aujourd'hui, a été très bien choisi. Alors que le monde se transforme rapidement grâce aux avancées technologiques, on prend de plus en plus conscience du double rôle que joue l'intelligence artificielle. Un outil capable d'accélérer les progrès humains et un facilitateur essentiel pour le bien-être dans nos sociétés. La convergence de ces deux domaines offre une opportunité d'exploiter la technologie pour améliorer la qualité de vie dans plusieurs secteurs. Les secteurs qu'on a examinés aujourd'hui, santé, éducation, protection sociale, questions environnementales et protection des territoires. As recently stated by Antonio Tajani, the Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, AI represents an extraordinary opportunity for growth, well-being, and development. This message, delivered at the AI and the Artificial Intelligence and Virtual Reality Festival in Turin earlier this October, highlights the Italian government's strong commitment to exploiting the AI potential to enhance society on multiple levels, not only based on economic factors, but also promoting human welfare. AI can contribute to human-centered development. Indeed, Italy has always been on the forefront of promoting a balanced approach to AI, ensuring that ethical considerations and human welfare remain at the core of technological developments. For this reason, the European Union's focus on responsible use of AI and its commitment in fostering inclusive innovation has been central also to our country's vision. Aiming at ensuring this ethic path, Italy has been actively involved in drafting and implementing the new EU AI regulation, centering its focus on a transparent, safe, and secure and beneficial development for all. From health diagnostics to personalized medicine, Italy's research institutions and companies are working to create AI solutions that not only push boundaries, but also safeguard human dignity and well-being. The role of AI in promoting mental health and ensuring equitable access to medical services is another priority. AI's potential in diagnosing and treating conditions, as well as in improving accessibility to healthcare, represents a paradigm shift that can drastically improve outcomes for population worldwide. This shift is already visible in Italian research and innovation efforts, particularly in areas like AI-driven telemedicine and wearable health technology, which offer new horizons in preventive care. At the same time, AI's integration into these areas can be controversial and involving challenges. Ethical governance and international cooperation will be a crucial point to ensure that AI's benefits are widespread and equitably distributed. Canada and Italy do share the common belief that in the potential of AI in the contribution to well-being, but also in their responsibility to its secure development. It has been indeed an honor to be here in Montreal, a city that is recognized globally for its leadership in AI research and development. The collaboration between Italian and Canadian researchers in this field can be very promising. Together, it is possible to work toward innovations that can transform both countries and hopefully the broader international community. Alors que nous sommes réunis ce soir, je vous invite toutes et tous à réfléchir aux possibilités offertes par le soutien de l'IA, de l'intelligence artificielle au bien-être, en permettant aux gens de vivre une vie plus saine et plus épanouie. Je tiens donc à remercier encore une fois la Chambre de commerce italienne au Canada pour son dévouement constant à la réalisation de ce forum, les partenaires et tous les orateurs et délégués distingués présents aujourd'hui ici. Je termine en vous souhaitant à toutes et à tous une très agréable soirée et une journée de travail acharné demain. Merci pour votre attention. Grazie ancora.
Grazie, Console Pavone. Next, or prochaine, I would like to invite Madame Laurence Fouquette-L'Anglais, déléguée du Québec en Italie, pour nous dire quelques mots sur la conférence.
Bonsoir. Monsieur le Consul général d'Italie, caro Enrico, Monsieur le Président de la Chambre de commerce italienne au Canada, caro Carmine, non ti vedo, ma... Ah, sì. Monsieur le Directeur général de la Chambre de commerce italienne au Canada, caro Francesco, illustri rappresentanti della regione Emilia-Romagna, della regione Calabria, della regione Puglia e di Taranto, chers amis et partenaires du Québec, and most of all, good evening to all the courageous people that are still in this room after this intensive day. Bonsoir et donc bienvenue encore une fois au Québec. C'est un véritable plaisir pour moi d'être ici pour une deuxième année, tout comme Monsieur le Consul général, à titre de délégué du Québec en Italie. Pour cette première journée, cette clôture en fait de cette première journée du Forum Canada-Italie sur l'intelligence artificielle et le bien-être. It is wonderful to see such an incredible gathering of experts, innovators, and thought leaders from both Quebec and Italy coming together to discuss the opportunities and challenges at the intersection of AI and human welfare. Quebec is honored to host you for what was today and promises to be tomorrow again, a rich exchange of ideas, experiences, and development of new collaborations. Je voudrais prendre un moment aussi pour féliciter la Chambre de commerce italienne au Canada, sous la direction de M. Francesco Biondi Morra, pour l'organisation impeccable de cet événement, la clairvoyance de la Chambre en reconnaissant l'importance d'un forum annuel consacré à l'IA et à ses applications, qui a commencé il y a 6 ans déjà, donc, est remarquable. Bravo. Back then, it was already clear that AI was shaping the future of industries across the globe, and there was no better place in the world to hold this forum than here in Montreal. As we discussed today, AI is not just about technology, but about people and communities. The theme chosen for this year's forum highlights this important reflection: how to place human being and quality of life at the heart of the conversation around AI. This is crucial because as we continue to push the boundaries of what AI can achieve in fields like healthcare and urban living, we are compelled to ask ourselves essential questions about ethics. How can AI serve humanity responsibly? How can it improve well-being without compromising individual rights or deepening social inequalities? It is clear that discussions about the ethical use of AI must accompany any conversation about technological innovation. And there is, as I said, no better place to explore these questions than here in Montreal, since our city has been at the forefront of this global conversation. As you know, Montreal has become a global hub for AI research and innovation. We are proud to host one of the world's most vibrant AI ecosystems, driven by cutting-edge research and backed by world-class institutions. From MILA, the Quebec Artificial Intelligence Institute, which brings together leading researchers in the field, to CIMIA or IVADO that you had the chance to hear today, to the innovative work of our companies, researchers, and startups, Montreal is recognized as a leader in AI for good. In fact, Montreal's AI community stands out for its emphasis on collaboration and its commitment to addressing real-world challenges. This is a city where the public and private sectors, academia, and civil society come together to ensure that AI development is ethical, inclusive, and geared toward improving the lives of the people. We see AI as a tool to enhance well-being, whether through advancing healthcare technologies, improving urban mobility, or creating safer, more sustainable cities. It is therefore not surprising then that Montreal is increasingly referred to as the AI capital of the world. Beyond AI, several other technologies will be of utmost importance during the 21st century, and Quebec is in a leading position for most of them. I am thinking here of batteries for electric vehicles with the Bécancour Battery Hub, of quantum with the Sherbrooke Innovation District, of semiconductors with the Bromont-Albany Strategic Corridor. These industries will require a considerable amount of critical and strategic minerals. I'm therefore very happy that Canada and Italy have signed a protocol of collaboration on critical minerals, because in this regard, Quebec is very well positioned on the global and Canadian scene. Indeed, the government of Quebec was the first in Canada to launch its Plan québécois pour la valorisation des minéraux critiques et stratégiques back in 2020. Quebec has the greatest diversity of minerals in Canada, with 21 of 34 minerals identified as critical and strategic by the European Union. Just to give you a quick idea, the Quebec's mining sector includes the largest reserve in half of the lithium projects in Canada. We are the country's only producer of graphite. We are one of the few jurisdictions in the world to possess all the resources needed to manufacture batteries: lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite, manganese, in addition to green aluminum. We are also the only producer of scandium oxide in North America and the world's second largest producer of niobium and the only one in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm therefore very eager to enhance the Quebec-Italy collaboration on this front as well, given that ultimately it is also related to enhancing our well-being. In terms of collaboration, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the close and enduring relationship between Quebec and Italy. I said it yesterday, but in 2025, we will celebrate the 60th anniversary of the presence of the government of Quebec in Italy. Since 1965, our relationship has been characterized by excellence, innovation, and shared values. Our cooperation spans many sectors, from trade and culture to science and technology. Over the past 6 decades, Quebec and Italy have built strong ties based on mutual respect and a shared commitment to quality and creativity. Allow me to underline as well the very special multi-sectoral agreement that we have signed earlier this year with our friends from Regione Emilia-Romagna. AI is obviously at the core of this, at the heart of this multi-sectoral agreement, but many other sectors as well. And we are very proud of this agreement that we have. How can I say that? That officially tie the friendship that we had, that we have started 60 years ago. We are also very proud that the Quebec office to have worked with the Italian Chamber of Commerce here in Canada to help make this event possible. And we are excited to continue fostering deeper ties between our nations, particularly in cutting-edge fields like AI. I want to thank everyone for your participation today. We have had discussions that have been inspiring, and I look forward to seeing what new ideas and partnerships emerge from this in the coming days. Je vous invite à continuer à travailler ensemble pour exploiter le potentiel de l'intelligence artificielle, mais aussi de plusieurs autres secteurs, parce qu'on a vu que plusieurs secteurs sont interreliés. Je pense qu'il y a plusieurs potentielles collaborations qui sont extrêmement intéressantes. Et c'est important de travailler donc non seulement à la collaboration pour le progrès technologique, mais aussi pour le bien-être de chacun de nous, de chacune de nos sociétés. Je vous remercie, je vous souhaite une excellente soirée, une bonne continuation de forum. Buona serata a tutti. Enjoy your night in Montreal, your time in Montreal. Enjoy our Montreal's gastronomy. And if you need any recommendation for restaurants, feel free to ask. Grazie mille.
Merci, Madame Fouquette-L'Anglais. Lastly, a few words from Francesco Biondi Morra di Belforte. I don't need to read this, I know it. Executive Director of the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Canada. That's going to wrap us up for today before we head out to an aperitivo and a well-deserved rest.
No. Hang on tight. We're still 4 after me. Just kidding. No. Well, I'll do fast. But I did want to say a few words before letting you go, of course. And as we conclude the 6th bilateral forum, Canada, Italy on AI, let's reflect on the insightful discussions and innovative ideas that was shared today. We have covered a wide range of topics. From AI in healthcare to its role in sustainable development, this forum has been instrumental in advancing our understanding of AI's role in enhancing well-being. The theme, Nourish Our Well-Being with AI, has been thoroughly explored, revealing its vast potential. We have seen how AI can be a powerful tool in addressing some of the most pressing challenges of our time. And now is a time to acknowledge the people who allowed us to be here together today. I want to once again thank our Italian and Canadian sponsors for their unwavering support. On a more personal note, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to the entire staff of the Chamber in Canada and in Italy who worked tirelessly these past few months. An event like this one is not done by itself. This, I can guarantee you that there's a lot of work, of research, of putting people together, of putting the themes together, of organizing, of working in the background. As my colleague Ruggera always says, it's not an event, it's a community. And thank you for being part of this community that advances the knowledge that we bring together in this room, that we bring together concretely work that can be done in advancing not only the topics of every year's forum, but the relationship, the economic relationship, the cultural relationship, and the friendships that are created at this event. And for this, I thank everyone in this room, and again, I thank my staff so much for all they did in this past few months. Looking ahead, I am optimistic about the future of AI and its potential to enhance our well-being. Now I know, somehow with the conversations that happened, I feel smarter than I was this morning, and somehow you all made me feel a lot dumber than I've ever been. You found that perfect balance that I don't know how I feel about myself anymore. But I'll have some time to reflect, and thank you again for the contributions of all the speakers in the room. As Enrico said, we're here tomorrow. We're already thinking about next year, and the forum will be coming back, but we're looking forward to a good day of work tomorrow, so we'll be here at 8:30 in punta, and we'll discuss extremely good topics again, and on a more practical note. So, no more speeches. You're absolutely right. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. Go eat, go drink, go enjoy Montreal, and we'll be there tomorrow. Thanks again.